Remember when you used to trust all the adults in your life? They all just seemed so well put together. Renting an apartment or mortgaging a house, they'd work their fancy jobs in the city and pull up to the bar by 6 p.m. with all of their co-workers, ordering a neat scotch on the rocks with a twist. Little did I know that I'd have to be a D1 LinkedIn gooner just to see any of that shit. Why does every interaction at this age just feel like a perpetual test to show that, hey, I'm not a worthless slob who doesn't commit to any sort of grind? The goal doesn't even seem to be accomplishing anything that helps humanity or even our local communities. It's all about the resume, the portfolio, profile on Glassdoor or LinkedIn, the GitHub heat maps. Like, when was the last time that you'd learned something because you genuinely enjoyed learning it, not using it as some sort of method to showcase merit, or some kind of bargaining chip in a job interview? The performance takes precedence over the substance. I know way too many people my age who are the president of their own AI/ML startup, who've created their own personal brand, which for a lot of them is just public masturbation. I don't think there's anything more inauthentic than a round of technical interviews, just so that you can be a paid doom scroller for a company that does B2B sales. I mean, sir, your company's continued effort to develop bleeding-edge tech in the realm of fleshlights is quite the indication of a strong workforce community that is founded on customer-to-customer satisfaction, and that is why I'm interested. To tie a cute bow on this phenomena, we, as a collective, have called it LARP'ing. Much like money, it makes the world go round. We can't trust the words of people, so we've made third-party benchmarks for them to hit. And this was cool when it was just apprenticeships, interns, bachelor's, and master's degrees. But I think we ought to draw the line at investors, don't we? This combined with people doing post-coffee chat posts, talking like LeBron after an NBA season. Get a fucking grip, will you? So it's long believed that we live in a sort of meritocracy, but I really prefer the term measuretocracy. Because merit isn't exactly innate, it's not something that you can just see by looking at someone. Sure, there's certain aspects that you can ascertain, but there's no definite answer. When someone walks through the front doors of a job interview, you cannot for sure be certain that they're fit for the task. And so we've, as aforementioned in this video, created third-party benchmarks. But the problem with these benchmarks is a lot of them seem to be performative or superficial. How can we guarantee the success of a person or their effectability in the workplace without having these? Well, short answer is you kinda can't. So, money talks and bullshit walks, essentially. But when competition has arisen and become so entrenched and steeped in society, what you have is a bunch of people scrambling and scraping for other sources of third-party verification, other sources or other methods to prove to employers or to their coworkers around them that I'm one of the good ones, I'm one of the better ones, I'm above the rest of these plebeians because they're not posting 3 times a day on LinkedIn. Is it as cut and dry as people believing that they're superior to others because they post? No, but admittedly a fun, deep-seated part of me wishes that all of these guys were self-aggrandizing sociopaths. All of this posturing and stature reminds me of a story that I had at work one time, in which I was tasked to create this sort of AI platform that can identify faults in a certain design. I'm keeping it vague on purpose. Sorry, I can't tell you all the details. But rest assured, I don't know shit about AI. And so when I was assigned with this task at work, my supervisor had said that they had wanted something that would help with design. So I'm like, alright, cool. Let me do some research about it. As I was doing more and more research about it, I realized that certain parts of it weren't exactly feasible. And so I had, given my foundings to my supervisor. I tried explaining it to him point blank. And I assumed he was under the impression that I would develop one. And I told him that I have no experience in AI, but he said, oh, you can learn about it and you can just do it. And eventually I started questioning why I was even given this in the first place. They'd known about my qualifications, they'd known about certain things. Why this? And it dawned on me that I was supposed to be given work. I was supposed to be given certain things to do to meet requirements. And that's when it all clicked. No one knows what they're doing. We have grown up our whole lives believing that adults were capable, knowledgeable, and that they had a certain wisdom that, preceded our own. However, as I've grown up, I've realized that it is less and less the case. Because the way how life progresses is we start at a young age, and we go through schooling, and we go through all of these trials and tribulations, and then finally, at the age of 18, you're stamped legally in the eyes of the law with the term adult. And that's when you realize that there is no mega transformation that happens. You kind of just wake up one day as a sir, or a mister, or a missus, or a ma'am, and you have to decide the level of responsibility you want to take with that label. To some people, being an adult means nothing. To other people, it means being responsible, being honest, being hardworking, being diligent, being determined. This definition of competence is so lackadaisical that we don't even know what to call ourselves anymore. And so people have identity crises between the gap of what they think they should be and what they actually are. And because there's this gap, we seek a source of third-party validations. Coding courses, projects, hackathons, whatever the case may be. And I don't hold any sort of resentment for anyone who does these. Hell, I've done some of them myself. And as much as I've hated the market, I've had to play towards it. Because in this economy, what other choice do you have, really? So embrace it. LARP. LARP egregiously. LARP continuously. Because in a meritocracy, the best move that you can pull is showcasing that you have the highest merit. And the world has shown time and time again that it doesn't care about the means that you take to get there.